Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm so excited to be here today to share with you my journey. I'll be introducing you a framework that I've been developing called the Passion-Driven Growth Framework, which is mainly based on the fact that, leveraging your passion is not just a way to achieve a successful career, but also to find that deep fulfillment in doing so. And we all want to recognize that each one of us here has their own stories, unique stories, blend of experiences and passions that shape us over time. A quick intro, obviously. So again, my name is Maher. I'm Senior VP of Engineering at DeveloperWeek. I've been in engineering leadership positions, VP, Senior VP, and CTO in the Bay Area for the last 10 years. I have some experiences, being an advisor, an ambassador to some AI-related things. And I also had entrepreneurship experiences that I will be highlighting later in my session today. So I'm so excited to be here and walking you through my framework. And before we go any further into the presentation, I want to make sure we take a moment to really understand and define the purpose, what I want you all to leave away with today. It's not just a session where you will be absorbing information. Hopefully this session when I'm trying to ignite change in all of you. So I will be talking about three things. The first one is how I want you all to reflect on the fact that we need to embrace the uniqueness of our journeys. Too often we're led to believe that, a successful career is like different steps you follow in order. It's a linear path, predictable. But in fact, I found out that, the most interesting and impactful journeys often veer from the beaten path. But I think this is a different, perspective to how a successful career might look like. The second topic would be, I want to make sure I ignite with you today that, ignite your career with passion. I wanted to really look at passion differently after this session, hopefully, because I really believe that passion is not just an added bonus. It's that kind of key motivator to continuous learning and engagement. And that allows us to get good and get better. And in fact, it's, passion is what is leading me and pushing me into my engineering leadership journey so far. And last but not least, I want to inspire you to commit to your growth and potential. This means being able to challenge yourself, stepping out of your comfort zone, embrace continuous learning and growth, taking full ownership of your work, setting personal goals. So it's all about the journey, not necessarily the end goal, but also the journey and how you can commit to your own growth and unlock your true potential. So hopefully by the end of this session, you have a good sense of inspiring thoughts when it comes to that. Well, this slide here is very close to my heart. This is some sort of a resume. This is my resume and a graph. This shows the path I've been kind of taking. It's all defined by these key moments, pivotal moments of change and detours. But at the end, it was mainly driven by my passions, and it was my guide towards new opportunities. As you can see in this slide, everything started by my passion to video games. Nothing here looks conventional from a journey. Nothing was planned. Mainly, it was all these unexpected journeys and connections between things. But my career started by me just as a video gamer, looking more into my hobby and my passion to video games, and over time realizing that this is taking me somewhere where I want to be sitting on the other side of the table. I want to be making games and developing games. So my journey, I completely left my telecommunication networking, education behind me, and embraced my passion and looked forward to become a game developer. So these passion at the end of the day, and again, it started with video games, and then I went into mobile development and then cloud distributed systems. And honestly, today is more about AI. But all these passions had turned me to believe that passion is some sort of a compass, a way to navigate my career and make the best decisions. And if I map my passion to my day job, this could be the best thing ever. And at least for me, it was true. So my approach here was not to leave these passions behind me. I didn't look at the video game and saying, "Oh, this is just a hobby. There's nothing here that can leverage for my day job." But in fact, it was true that I used these passions to propel me forward instead of be holding me back. So let's move forward and kind of take a little bit moment to get the attention around the engineering aspect of this. Look at every engineer within each one of us, and we need to acknowledge that the path to engineering leadership is not defined just by the levels, the titles, the steps of the ladder that you take, but by the skills that you need and the experiences that you need to develop over time. And hopefully, if you map these with your passion, this can drive you and push you towards a successful and fulfilling career. For me, I think we talked about these unconventional paths and pivotal moments. I want to highlight two different items here: leveraging your passions and embracing pivots. And these two might seem like two separate ideas, completely different, but in fact, they are intertwined. The passions are the fuel for your growth and motivation, while pivots represent these key moments and changes you do in your career to just make the best and make the most out of your career journey. So looking forward, I want to share with you 3 stories about how I leveraged my passion for gaming at the time into things that applied to my engineering career. The first one here is, it's how I was able to level up in real life. Like the same way you do it in video games, you take a character and you build up skills and you level up. I think I was able to do this in real life for me because I really took that passion of video games. When I play these games, I always wonder, how these things are made. It's like this beautiful world and this technology, impressive technology. What's the magic behind the curtains? And I was always interested in how can I be one day sitting on the other side of the table building some of these? And that kind of passion that I had was for me guiding me to a bigger quest. And I took that passion and channeled all of that into, kind of a pivotal moment in my education. I could have been like a telecommunication engineer working on the wireless technologies and things like that. But I decided to leave everything there and go and pursue a master's degree in electrical engineering, learn about graphics, image processing, and anything that might lead me to become a game developer over time, because I was really passionate about that. But the real magic happened through nights and weekends where I was trying to apply the learnings I was having into real life. So I was building prototypes for games that were rough and clunky, but they were mine and they were fun. And every time I had a successful step forward, for me, it was a level up. It was like, oh my God, look at this. Like I'm making progress into my journey or my quest to become a game developer. And honestly, the ultimate quest of becoming a game developer, less than 2 years later, I was working for one of the biggest gaming companies, making and working on video games I played when I was a kid. It's like, it's obviously a dream come true, but it's also validation that and a proof that if you marry your passion to your hard work, this can lead you, places, honestly. And it was exactly that kind of validation that keeps me moving forward and pursuing, mapping my passions to my work, so I can be excited about, can be motivated, and have intrinsic motivation to go and be better and do more. Another example I wanted to talk about is how these passions are not just about, passion to video games is not just about playing. When you are a hardcore video gamer, it's not just about playing the game. It's about optimizing. It's about performance. It's about looking at stats. It's about comparing you in leadership, leaderboards and benchmarks. So for me, it was that kind of optimization. I was something very excited about. But at the time, I didn't find enough good tools to do this. What I ended up doing, building mine. To build mine, obviously, I had to. It didn't start like a grand plan, something I was planning for. It was just, okay, how can I get the best out of the game, especially when I'm not playing, like when I'm not looking at my games? Is there a way for me to keep track of things and optimize and learn? So this is where I kind of scratching this itch pushed me to learn more about mobile technologies at the time. Picked up Android and iOS and started learning how to do these things, and self-taught myself mobile development. A little bit later, I start building these apps and using them for myself, and then start sharing them with some of my friends. And I ended up learning that these were, the good feedback. People like them. Long story short, a few months to years later, I had millions of users using these apps. I put them in the app stores. These were very successful, and some of them even made it to the top charts globally, where you search for some of these video games or consoles, my apps will show up first. And they were translated in every possible language out there, thanks to the community. So for me, that was stumbling upon entrepreneurship, and it was like an amazing surprise. Back again, another way to really believe that passion can take you places where you couldn't believe you can go to. And the last example, you might be asking, what everything here has to do with with engineering leadership. And to be very honest, again, I asked myself that same question, but I just learned this, later, many, many years later. When I started having engineering management roles and engineering leadership roles, I really found very key analogies between what I was doing in video games, like World of Warcraft, playing as a guild master, leading a group of 300 people. It ended up being very similar to being an engineering leader, managing a software engineering team. Getting together these skills and talents and people to work together, build a high-performance team in a game or in software engineering, were very similar. Adapting to change in the mechanism of the game compared to adapting to change in software and scope and technology stacks. Communicating, now we talk about offline, online communication, managing distractions and all of that. But we did all of this back in the day when we were playing video games across different countries and time zones, all with the audio and some blocks to manage offline communication. So at the end of the day, in managing conflicts, by the way, this is one of the biggest learnings way years later. I find myself in easy for me to manage some of the tough conversation to manage conflicts because I did this in a video game before, and it worked. So the learnings from these experiences that it was not just about the specific skills, it was about the mindset I had at the time. Being a gamer, I understand the value of play. And that doesn't mean just the video game play. It's about the value of understanding that failure sometimes is a milestone to success, understanding that experimenting or being comfortable in experimenting and iterating, going into a way of pushing the boundaries of what is possible, from playing. And that was an incredible learning for me, and incredible traits to develop as a leader over time. I think that the truth is that some of these skills that I developed over time, playing video games, like strategic thinking, problem solving, and all of that, ended up being highly transferable to different areas of life, including my work and my career and my engineering leadership journey. So what was surprising for me at the time was that this come from an unexpected place like a World of Warcraft or video games in general. So I think the message I have for you here, if you're playing video games and someone is asking you why you're wasting time doing that, you can tell them you're brushing up your engineering leadership skills. And then I wanted to highlight very quickly like some of the responsibilities I had as a guild master and the other ones from an engineering leadership. And honestly, you can see they are practically identical one-to-one, except a few things here like managing epic loot in a video game. You can call that, managing bonuses and promotions as an engineering leader, or like adapting to a deep understanding of a mechanism in the game. You can also map that to technical fluency and deep understanding of specific concept of software engineering. I think the point here is that the core leadership skills, the ability to build teams, motivate individuals, solve problems, and communicate effectively, all these are universal. Yeah, it comes from unexpected grounds like video games, but honestly, they transcend the specific context. And it works. It really works and get good results. Well, this is what I used to do back then. Honestly, this is the team I used to lead back then, and these are kind of the structures and team and systems I'm leading right now. And it's very, very kind of mapping one-to-one. Cool. Well, talking a little bit more, beyond the passion, beyond all of that, the real magic isn't about the specific skills. It's about also the learning and the, skills I developed over time, or the mindset I kept developing over time. That all started with gaming. And I'm going to summarize them into zoning in and leveling up. And I will be talking about how these kind of helped me develop my career forward. And I will be talking about two concepts. They both relate to zones. I love this meme picture. It's about, I did this a lot when I played video games. I used to kind of playing the game and I get into losing, strikes. And then I stop doing any of this and move into a different posture and kind of, I get into the zone. I get more focused. I get more wins. I get to, a lot of things done in the game. And that taught me a lesson. And honestly, if you watched the Pixar movie Soul, there's a very good representation of that in the movie where Joe, the main character, is playing piano. He gets into the zone, and they call it, the intersection between the physical and the spiritual world, where artists go into a flow state. I think it's exactly that. I believe software engineering is an art. And I think that getting into the zone, you get to a level of focus and immersion that is beyond normal. And this is where you start seeing some connections in mapping that you couldn't see before. So the key here is to also understand that getting into the zone will help you, adapt to change very effectively and easily, maximize your efficiency and fulfillment at the end of the day, and, minimize your distraction burnout. It's about that kind of process. It's getting into the zone will give you keys to the place where you will be way more efficient in your work. So at the end of the day, what I want to communicate here is, I think we need to all understand how we first, we need to recognize that there is a zone we need to get to, and we need to understand, and we need to cultivate. And the key here, it all depends on each one of us. You might be, it might be a workplace environment you set up for yourself. It might be the way you break down the work for yourself and for your teammates. It could be, again, different environmental aspects that you set for yourself to be in the zone. So I think it's very important for all of us to recognize these things, to maximize the chances for us to get into the zone. And I learned this from video games, and it was very, very efficient over time. Another aspect related to zones. I think this one here is completely the opposite, is getting out of your comfort zone. We talk about comfort zone being, the zone, and think about the video game. It's like level 1 or a tutorial level where you are in full control of everything. It's easy, it's not challenging, it's a safe place but that's not where you level up. That's not where you get bigger other skills or other, loot and equipment, and you don't take yourself to the next level. So people most of the time think, okay, I need to learn something new. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone, and they will end up in the growth zone, which is, where they live their dreams and find their purpose and, set new goals and they realize aspirations. But the truth is, as soon as you get out of the comfort zone, the first thing you come to meet is the fear zone, because this is where you start learning about new things. This is where you get a little bit challenged, and you see in a video game, you see new bosses and new enemies, and you start losing, and you start wondering if you're good enough, and you start your confidence will go down over time and things like that. So this is where you'll start really see real problems to solve. They will start small but develop over time, and it's a good place to challenge yourself and to strive and continue and pursue kind of going through the zone, because as soon as you're done, you're going to get into the learning zone. This is where you're confident, you're fine with the challenge. Losing or gone through these failures is again a milestone to success, and you get to recognize the pattern and you start to learn from these experiences. And exactly this is where again you develop better skills, you grow up and level up a little bit to get ready to be in the growth zone. And the growth zone is like the boss of the end boss of the area. This is where you discover your purpose, you begin to you live your dreams, you enjoy the cinematics of the game and the design, all of that. You say, oh, this is awesome, I played this far, I made it this far, this is fun. And then when you be the boss, you get really enjoy that kind of experience, and you have a fulfilling experience and a rewarding one. But at the end of the day, another thing you should not forget, that as soon as you do that and you get used to this, that growth zone will become your next comfort zone. And that's where the fun continues. And that's how using your passion can lead you, again, to take the next challenge with ease. Now, I think we talked enough about all of these kind of aspects of zoning and, zone in and zone out. But just like a game, I think gaining experience and unlocking new abilities is important for us to continue our growth and development and grow as in our careers. So this is what I want to be sharing with you, at least 3 core values and strategies I developed again from past experiences and to passion to video games that really helped me get to that kind of passion-driven growth framework that we'll be talking about in a minute. The next one here, the first, it was a fun lesson I learned where, from an unexpected source early on in my career. I was having an internship at the company where, my manager asked me to do one thing, and I said, yeah, sure, I will try to do it. But my manager interrupted me and said, no, you're not going to try to do it. You will do it. His response at the time felt like Yoda saying, do or do not. There is no try. It felt like bossy at some point. But you know what? It ended up resonating with me a little bit later, because what happened is I ended up doing that thing, but over that kind of journey of doing it, I learned 2 things. I learned that trying implies failure. And when you have your mindset set up this way, it has bigger chances to fail. But if you get to commit and if you get to understand that as you pick up this, you will own it, you will take full ownership, you will get it done with that kind of get things done mindset, you have less chances of failing. And it was not, again, it's about committing. It's about learning the patterns and adapting strategies to get things done. So it's all about the journey as well. So again, I ended up understanding that he was not really bossy. He was expressing trust in me that maybe at that time I didn't have it myself, which again shifted my perspective and kind of triggered a lot of thoughts, in my opinion, at the time. But he also highlighted, how much he trusted me and how much he wanted me to take full ownership. And I learned that implicitly from his message at the beginning. So this taught me, honestly, the power of trust and, instilled in me a sense of responsibility and full ownership that I carry with me to today. Everything I take care of, I want to take to the finish line with as best, effort as possible. Another experience I had, we all played video games and about the skills trees and all of that. And a question that comes very often in my moments when I'm trying to look for what is next in me in my career is should I stack my skills? Should I spread them out? It's like in a video game. Should I go and be an expert in one area and be the strongest warrior, or should I try different things because that will make me versatile? And I think the answer is here very clearly. No one size fits all. It all depends on what truly motivates you and what kind of impact you wish to have. Some people thrive on specialization, becoming the go-to expert in one area, but others find fulfillment in a broader range of skills. and connecting different areas of expertise and bring a unique perspective. For me, also, I believe that balance is key. So finding how much you will be stacking vertically versus how much you will spread them out horizontally is the key to find that kind of key success and find their sweet spot. For each one of us, we have different ones. And then take a moment every once in a while to self-reflect, to really understand where is your career going, what are the key moments and opportunities out there, to tweak it and change it depending on that is very important as well. And finally, I cannot highlight this enough, embracing continuous learning. The technology landscape, like a video game, changes a lot, moves, new tools, new frameworks. So it's really key to adapt and understand how things are going and really pick these as they happen if they seem important to you. So all this takes us to our final slide, which is the passion-driven growth framework. I think a lot of us believe that opportunities, career growth is all about the opportunity and the talent. If I have the skills and if there's a good opportunity, this is the best career. But for me, it's very important to add that passion kind of ingredient to the recipe. It's not just a feeling, in my opinion. It's a driving force. It's the engine behind true sustainable growth. And I think I can talk about passion in 4 different areas. One is how it was a motivator for me to continuous learning. Like, again, I learned how to build video games, and then I learned how to build mobile apps, and today I learned how to do AI, and whatever comes next. I will be able to learn because I have the right mindset, because if my passion is what I do, I'm going to do that. Second is how passion, is the engine for deep engagement. It creates in you this intrinsic motivation to get good, to really become better, and beat your own expectation every time. So you're not doing this for others. You're not doing this for anything other than that fulfillment you have in your experience. And then a catalyst for leadership. If you want to, inspire, if you want to impact, if you want to have an influence. For me, passion was driven me to have an impact and build a team that we can achieve way more than each one of us individually. And then, as I said earlier, it could be used as a compass for navigating your career. If you get these 2 things married, your passion, your hard work, and your work, this will take you many places. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this session today. It was a great pleasure to be talking to all of you today. Please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Wow. You do have a question, Maher. Andy wants to know, what are you playing now?
That's a good question. What I'm playing now? I'm playing God of War Ragnarok.
Awesome. You got a lot of puzzles to solve, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope you all took some great insights and realizing that you can be passionate and take all those things that you did as a kid, as an adult, and merge them into your career. Thank you for coming today here at Developer Week 2025. Please make your way to your next sessions. Take care. See you on the next side.
Thank you, Joe. Bye.
Bye.